Now, suicide is a deeply complex and sensitive issue that affects individuals, families, as well as communities. Now, recognizing the warning signs and knowing how to respond can truly save lives. So in today's segment, we'll explore practical tools and life-saving steps that anyone can take to help someone who has been or who may be struggling. Joining us here in studio is Natalie Beekers, currently completing her clinical psychology practicum. She's going to unpack, the warning signs of suicide and how to support someone in crisis. Natalie, very good morning. Good to have you back. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Great, thank you. I mean, it's not it's good to have you back, but quite a very, alarming conversation, or
Yes.
rather, the issue around suicide, as we just heard also that Namibia now leads Africa in suicide cases, So unfortunately, as we said, it's conversations we need to have, not so comfortable, but we do.
Yes.
Right. So to begin with, maybe you can explain, why it's so important to recognize, early warning suicidal signs and how those signs may present differently in different individuals.
Yeah, absolutely. So by recognizing the early warning signs of suicide gives us the opportunity to step in before that individual reaches the crisis point. So people won't suddenly just go from feeling fine to feeling suicidal overnight. There's actually early warning signs that gives us indication that this individual may be reaching a crisis point. So the early warning signs looks different for everyone. So some people may feel open and more comfortable with talking about feeling hopeless or wanting to die, while others are more withdrawn. They show less interest in the things that they love, or there may be changes in their moods or their behaviors. And then sometimes people may even appear calm after a distressing period, which also gives us an indication that this person may have made a decision or may have made peace. So the key importance is that we notice these small changes in their usual behavior that now seems unusual to us, and this is usually the clearest signal that we have that this person may be experiencing something deeper.
For sure. I saw a video last week or the week before, two individuals, like you said, we're all different,
Yeah.
but two individuals, and one has a very mellow temperament, and the other person is so bubbly and actually is trying to cheer the next person on at a football game or something.
Yeah.
Are you good? Are you good? And the other one is just like, and the other, the energy is there. But ultimately, the video was very heartbreaking, and it ended with the individual that was, that had enthusiasm and so on, actually committing suicide. And it was that video, I don't know, it just, made me see life in this matter of suicide so differently. But let's get back to this conversation. You did mention that, talking about death
Yes.
or wanting to die is we can see that as a major red flag, right? What should someone do if their loved one says something, starts talking about death, for instance?
Okay, so the most important thing is to take it seriously. People oftentimes think that these individuals are just seeking attention or just acting out, but in reality, it is actually a cry for help. So what we as individuals can do to support that person is to be empathetic, to stay calm, and to let them know that you care. So you can do this by asking gently and directly, are they thinking about suicide? And yes, it may be uncomfortable at first, but it does give them the permission and the opportunity to open up and to talk freely about how they are feeling regarding suicides, what their thoughts are regarding suicides. And then to help them get support immediately. So you can encourage them to actually get into contact with a mental health professional, or you can help them call Crisis Lifeline Namibia together with them. Or if they are in immediate danger, you contact emergency services immediately, and then under no circumstances do you leave that individual alone. That is very important. You don't leave them alone.
Yeah. From your experience, your practicum experience, how has things like mood or behavior, or changes like, or withdrawal, for instance, I think some people even start giving away belongings.
Yes.
This is the preparation process, or risk-taking. How's this been indicators of suicidal thoughts?
Okay, so in my practicum experience, these small changes in their behaviors or their moods can be early signs that they are thinking about suicide. Like you mentioned, people will start to withdraw, become distant from their family or friends, or they will start giving away their treasured belongings, or they may even engage in reckless behavior. And these are signs that that individual may be thinking that life has no more meaning, there's no reason for me to live anymore. And I think it's important that we don't dismiss these changes or these signs, and don't just think that the individual is acting out or just seeking attention, but that it's often silent cries for help and that it does need your immediate attention.
Thank you for that. So there are 5 action steps. Talk to us about these steps.
So these 5 action steps are practical tools that can be used by anyone. So you get 5 action steps. The first one is to ask. The second one is to be there. Third one, keep them safe. The fourth one is to help them connect, and the fourth one is to follow up. So the first one is to ask. So this is where you ask them gently and directly what their thoughts or feelings are regarding suicide. So this also opens up an honest conversation between you and that individual, and it makes them feel seen and heard. It lets them know that you notice small changes in their behaviors and you are picking up, and that you are caring about them. And then to be there, so you are just present, you provide a non-judgmental zone, and you just let them talk. So this also reassures that person that, listen, I'm here for you, I'm here to listen to you talk. And then to keep them safe. So if they are in immediate danger, you try to remove any objects that they could use to harm themselves, or like I mentioned, you contact emergency services immediately, and you don't leave that individual alone under any circumstances.
You know, it's so interesting that you're talking about having to ask, do you have thoughts of suicide? And many people are actually afraid to ask this because you kind of feel like you might be planting a seed, because what if it's not, you know, the case? But can you clarify for us some misconceptions and why it is actually helpful to ask, hey, are you okay? Are you having any suicidal thoughts? You know, help us here, because this is very interesting for me, because I would think, one, I'm overstepping. Number two, I think I'm planting a seed here, because what if this is momentarily? But like you said, so many what ifs, so many questions, so many answers. But please, can you take this one?
Yeah, so there is that misconception and the common fear that if you ask someone anything about suicide, that you may be planting that idea in their head. The truth is, if somebody is thinking about it, they may have been thinking about it for a
while.
Yes, so you are not the one that's planting the seed in their head. So in fact, research shows us that if you ask directly the person regarding suicide, it reduces their suicidal thoughts or their suicidal behaviors, because that person now feels seen, heard, and not judged. Like I mentioned, just them, if it's you that's picking up that small behavior change, it lets them know that you care and that you are actually noticing these small changes in them. And when someone is struggling, they tend to withdraw and to isolate themselves, and then start to feel lonely. So when you ask them directly, it also tells them that, listen, you are not a burden. I'm here for you. I'm here to listen. And that could be the very thing that gives them hope.
So what are some ways family, friends, even colleagues, you know, this is what we call our communities, our safe spaces, our safe people, you know, communities. How can they help keep someone safe if they recognize that, you know, a person is at risk of, you know, suicide?
So support is vital. It's very, very important. And the first thing that you could do is to stay connected with that person, to check up regularly, even just a small phone call or a small message. It reminds them that they are not alone. And then, like I mentioned, to limit or remove access to things that they could use to harm themselves. This could be pills or sharp objects. You could even help create a safety plan with that individual. So a safety plan includes helping them identify what their coping strategies is, helping them identify emergency contacts or family members or a close friend that they feel comfortable talking to. And these coping strategies, actually, when they are in a crisis, they can tap into that coping strategies to help them get past that crisis point that they are experiencing, and then most importantly, help them get into contact with professional support. So you offer to go with them to their first counseling session, or you sit with them while making the call. And these small actions can create a sense of stability and hope for that individual.
For sure. Can you share some resources, both professionally and community-based, you know, that viewers should be aware of, especially in the moments of crisis? crisis.
Yeah. So in Namibia, people can call a Lifeline Childline Namibia at 116 or 106. So this is a toll-free number, meaning you won't get charged if you do call that number. It's confidential and it is available 24/7. And then we also have for individuals that may be traveling out of Namibia, if they are maybe in South Africa, there's also the South African Depression and Anxiety Group at 27800 567 567. And then beyond the crisis lines, obviously reaching out to mental health professionals, community clinics, or even trusted spiritual leaders can be important steps in a person's ongoing support.
Yeah. You mentioned that there is a depression and anxiety group in South Africa. So does that mean we don't have one here?
We do have.
Okay.
There is a lot of, so the Lifeline Childline Namibia is not the only contact number or details that you can use when you are in a crisis. There is also the mental health unit. I'm just not sure what their contact detail numbers is. So there is a lot out there, but the ones that I just gave you is the toll-free ones where you won't get charged. So if you are in immediate crisis, you can just call that and you don't need
to consider other things like airtime or... Okay, I see what you mean. Okay. Now I was just asking because I was thinking maybe you can consider starting something like that if, you know. All right, any final words from your side, Natalie?
Just to reiterate that if someone is in a crisis, it's important that we as individuals who offer the support not to leave that person alone and to reassure them that you are not alone, that you matter, your life matters. And even though it feels like nothing is working out or it may be the end, that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you for being the light here this morning,
Thank
Natalie.
you.
Really appreciate you coming in. All right.
Thank you.
All right. There you